Hi, Sarah. I'm so glad you could join me today. How are you feeling about our session?
I'm a little nervous. I was a little like kind of apprehensive to, kind of do counseling and, kind of see what that experience is about. I've had really bad experiences with counseling in the past, so I was pretty apprehensive to do it, but I'm open to kind of, listening to what you have to say and kind of moving forward with this.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you've had negative experiences in the past. That's never good. And then to come back and try it again. I mean, that's some courage, though.
Yeah, I'm encouraged. So far it's been a few years since I've done counseling or any sort of thing like that, but I just feel like kind of my current life situation and what's been going on, I definitely like need some help. I definitely can't do it on my own anymore.
Okay. So I know we're meeting virtually, and that can be a little bit different than in person. But I just want you to know that this is a safe space for you to share whatever is on your mind. And before we jump into the conversation, I'd like to just go over a few important things regarding confidentiality. So first and foremost, everything that we discuss today here is private, with one exception, and that is if there is a risk of harm to you or others. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, perfect. So my role is going to be to support you through this process of what you're feeling, help you explore your thoughts and your feelings. It's important that we work together collaboratively so that, you know, we can work on those goals and get you to where you want to be. So please feel free to share any feedback or concerns that you have along the way, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. So now that we have those basics covered, I'd love to hear about what brought you here today and what's been on your mind lately.
Yeah, so I really have been like just struggling with anxiety. I've struggled with
Okay.
anxiety since I was very young. I want to say maybe around the time I was in like elementary school, like fourth, fifth grade, I started really struggling with anxiety. So it's kind of always been like a present factor in my life. I'm 25 now, so I've been struggling with it for a majority of my life. Um, I obviously, the way my anxiety has kind of shifted throughout my life. When I was younger, I feel like I, was worried about very minimal things, like different things with school and things like that, but it's definitely gotten more complex as I've gotten older. Um, I currently just have a lot of anxiety surrounding like school and my job and certain like relationships in my life. And it really doesn't ever feel like there's like a moment when like my mind is like quiet. It just kind of like always feels like I have something to like be worried about. Um, so just, kind of just looking for like tools or maybe like different things I could use to kind of help like quiet my mind and just like find different ways to kind of maybe de-stress or not be so anxious all the time.
Okay. So it sounds like you've been feeling overwhelmed with a lot of maybe anxious feelings. Um, can you tell me a little bit about how that is affecting you, maybe physically or emotionally?
Yeah, physically, it's definitely impacted like my appetite. Like I just feel like so anxious that like I don't want to eat a lot and it's actually caused me to like lose a bunch of weight because
Right.
I don't want to do that. I feel like a lot of my anxiety is like also surrounding like my body image or like how I feel like I look and stuff like that. So like exercising like normally, in the past, they've like my different counselors have told me, exercising can really help with anxiety and things like that, but I also feel like it's kind of turned into like a negative thing for me because I'm so hyper like focused on, body image and things like that. I feel like maybe exercise has kind of turned into a negative and not really helped and maybe like even worsen the anxiety. So physically it's just kind of like thrown off my appetite. I'm not really sleeping well like at night either. I feel like at night it's like the worst with being anxious. My mind kind of like spirals and causes me to like not be able to get that much sleep. So I kind of feel really tired the next day. Um,
Okay.
And then emotionally, yeah, I feel like it's just kind of all like clouded a lot of things and just kind of caused me to feel like very overwhelmed with everything.
Okay. So if you see me looking down, I am taking some notes. So I'm not ignoring you, just so you know. Um, okay, so that's a lot to unpack right there. So it sounds like the anxiety is definitely impacting you physically and emotionally. How much weight have you lost?
I would say I lost like about 15 pounds
Wow,
over the
okay,
past
so
2 months, and it definitely wasn't like intentional. I wasn't really like looking to lose weight. Like I said, I think the emotions have just become like so intense and strong that just the feeling of anxiety has just literally caused me to like lose my appetite completely. It's just kind of encapsulated like basically, everything I've been feeling.
okay. And that's kind of normal for anxiety feelings, for your body to feel that way. So it's normal. So how about supports in your life? Do you have any supports right now that that you could lean on and talk to?
Yeah, so my mom and my boyfriend are like very good supports in my life. They definitely are very patient with me and help me understand my anxiety a little bit better. Um, I feel like I don't maybe use the supports as much just because I don't want to feel like a burden and kind of make it like their problem. Because I've dealt with this for so long. I've dealt with, like I said, anxiety since I was little. So my mom's, kind of been there to support me through it. And, my boyfriend, we've been together like 3 years. So, he's been really great with, helping me through these emotions. But, sometimes I think I don't maybe lean on my supports, like I said, as much as I should, just because I don't really want to like make it their problem or make it, kind of add any stress or tension to their lives and more than already what they have going on.
Okay, I can understand that. Um, so let's talk a little bit about things that you may have tried in the past. I know you said that you have tried therapy, but it didn't go so well. How long ago did you try or did you see a therapist?
Yeah, so I started seeing a therapist when I was first in like fifth grade. That's like kind of when the anxiety started, and I started to just see like a counselor at school for a little bit, and that helped for a little while. But then I kind of just felt like I kind of outgrew it. Once I got into like middle school, the anxiety kind of like started to die down a little bit, so I didn't feel like I needed anything. And then kind of as I got into high school and things were changing, life was kind of changing, then moving on to college, so it started to definitely increase. And I started to see another therapist around like my freshman year of college. And that was the like very negative experience that I had. I felt like um, they just really weren't understanding or listening to like what it is that I had to say. Um, and I just didn't feel like it helped me as a whole. So it's been about like 2 or 3 years since I've been out of therapy.
Okay. And when you were in that therapy, did you get any like coping skills that you have worked on? Or maybe do you currently take any medication?
I'm currently not on medication.
Okay.
They did prescribe me a medication when I was with them. Like I said, so I've been off it for about 2, 3 years.
Okay.
I just really didn't like how it made me feel. It definitely helped with the anxiety, but almost to the point where I kind of just felt like numb. I didn't really feel like I was myself. Um, and I just, I obviously still wanted to be me and have my personality, but just, not be as anxious. And I kind of feel like it took everything away from that. People in my life were definitely like noticing that too. They just, kind of were like, kind of feel like you're acting like yourself or, you seem off. And um, so, not like against medication if we feel like it's like the right fit for me at some point, but definitely, I'd like to kind of exhaust all my other options before that would be what I would want to do.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm here for. Like I said before, my role is to support you through this process with coping mechanisms and coping skills. Uh, I don't get to prescribe medication, so that won't be me. But we will work on ways, other ways for you to, be able to manage that anxiety and those feelings that you're currently having. Um, so let's talk then a little bit about your support systems and, what you have done recently, to help with those feelings. You mentioned that you were feeling, overwhelmed, your appetite is not good. Uh, what kind of things have you been working on, if any, to, kind of subside those feelings?
Yeah, I feel like music and being outdoors is like a big one for me. I love to like take walks with my dog and, listen to music or like listen to a podcast. I definitely think any way that I'm kind of able to like not fixate my mind on my like reminiscing thoughts is like a good way for me. But it's just like as soon as like the distraction's over, that's when those thoughts like kind of come like flooding back in. So it helps for as long as I'm doing it, and then I feel like as soon as I'm kind of, undistracting myself, then that kind of comes back in. But those things definitely do help, and they help for the moment, and they help me to kind of calm myself down, calm my body down, calm my emotions down. But like I said, it's like as soon as it's over, it's, the constant thoughts that were from before.
So it sounds like you're using a little bit of mindfulness, being
Yeah.
in the moment, getting out of that anxious state. Okay. Um, So you like to be outdoors, music. Um, okay. Walking your dog. What kind of dog do you have?
I have a golden retriever.
Okay. Aw.
Yeah, he definitely helps with the anxiety. He's like, yeah, him and taking him on walks and like I said, just kind of getting out of my head and getting into like a different mind, like different state of mind has definitely been helpful. And I'd like to be in that state of mind more often.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of what we want to do here is get you to that state of mind of kind of like peace and out of the anxious feelings, which is what we will continue to work on through our sessions. Um, Anything else that that you've been feeling that you want to talk about, or that's going on with you, that maybe I could help you address?
I really just feel like it's like my anxiety. I feel like once I address like that as being like the root issue, that it will kind of help a lot of the other things I've kind of been experiencing in my life subside. I think that's just the main issue going on in my life right now, and a lot of the other feelings I think stem from it. So I think once I find ways to really cope with this and address this, then hopefully the other things will kind of subside.
Okay. And that's kind of what we're gonna do and what we're gonna work on. So, um, if there's nothing else that we can talk about, we're nearing our hour mark here. And if there's nothing else, then we can end a little bit early if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
Okay. So definitely appreciate your willingness, to share today. I know it takes courage to open up about these things, especially after your negative experiences, previously. Um, but it's a lot of courage, and we're going to get you where you need to be. I think this is a good start. You discussing it and being open and honest with me about it. So we will schedule an appointment for next week to meet again, and we can discuss a little bit more, about the coping mechanisms and strategies for you to address that anxiety, if that's okay with you.
yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you next week then.
Sounds good. Thank you.